I'm gonna stay in here today and drink waters and stuff. We'll go to do these stuff for the healthcare benefit things tomorrow. Okay, I just had bowel movements, good bowel movements. They could call them good. I don't read into anything. I physically feel I can do self diagnosis on certain things, and I can tell when I've got chemical poisoning and how it's affecting my body and stuff. But you can't you can't do anything about what, like Suzuki always tells me, that's not your issue. Parsons, just survive, stop, eliminate abuse, recover, and life's eternal and grace is infinite. So I don't sit there and think, well, I got to do this, since that occupies my mind, because it affects all the people around me, because that's what's happening to everybody. How do I have money? How do I survive? How do I stay alive? How do I get to live the Lord's Prayer? How do I make it there? How do I, and you have to stand up for it now. It's now or never, but you can't. It's that's Suzuki always yells at me. You Lord's Prayer. You think Lord's Prayer is too good. Don't let any of this stuff affect your brain activity. Your brain activity is more important than the people attacking you with their technology. And the technology has to understand and assimilate you, because you're the example of understanding natural laws perfectly, and they are not. Okay. And the big thing when you watch the United States of America, and you have these two groups that are in conflict over the money, and the left side are suicidal and the right side are homicidal, and that's how they sacrifice for their cause. On the right side, murder poor people from other countries. If you get murdered by poor people from other countries, you sacrifice all so we can be free to get money to murder over what we want. And on the left side, destroy your capacity to sexually reproduce through surgery, accept the psychology and drugs of that. And if you're not a homosexual that wants to destroy your capacity to reproduce, go and destroy the fetus while out enjoying your philanthropy, if you think you enjoy it, just like on this. So to be a good liberal, you have to be suicidal. And that's the way we manage the surplus population and to maintain our wealth through manipulation with technology and money. And to be a good conservative, you have to be homicidal. And you sacrifice all so we can be free to murder over money and ignore the Lord's Prayer. And you, see, the left just thinks they're being better because it's a more humane way. Committing suicide to maintain population numbers and to keep the economy going is considered more humane than being homicidal. But the homicidal say, but we're killing all the right people. We're sending out gang members, child molesters, murderers, and blah, 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 right? And the left is like, just live and let live. And if a person is really bad, we just lock them up so they can't do bad things to other people and they die in incarceration. And then I will kill myself and my capacity to reproduce and kill any children in my womb so they don't have to endure this hell. So they think they're being, the great live and let live Woodstock martyrs of the great Woodstock generation, and they're the World War II generation. And there's a fight over the Woodstock generation and the World War II generation that has perpetuated and continued since Mae Smith told me, no, they're going to be worse than their ancestors because of the drugs. It's like, it's not the drug, it's dopamine addiction and adrenaline addiction to fighting over right and wrong, when they're both obviously wrong because they're fighting and not living the Lord's Prayer. Right? So I know how perfect I am. Okay. Selassie knew it. Krishnamurti knew it. Not Yuji, but Yuju, you ugly. But Jiddu Krishnamurti knew it. And I knew Yuji. I didn't know Yuji. I didn't never talk to him. I don't like the man. But Jiddu, we had meditations prayer when we were joined Ekankar. I had meditations with the Buddha, and he's the line of the Buddha and the Krishna. And so we had many conversations. We talked numerous times. And he was talking to me in meditation when I was a kid. I wasn't, on a subconscious level, wasn't aware of it until I got older. And Alan Gibson gave me books and lectures of Jiddu Krishnamurti. That's my guy, man. I know him. He's the, I'm Christ line. He's the Buddha Krishna line. Yeah, I know him, And the same thing with Sun Yat-sen through Confucius and D.T. Suzuki, through the lines of the faithful fathers of the Japanese, were the ones they refer to as samurai, but that's really twisted. He's the swordsman. And that's why, Suzuki, Jesus, he's the sword. Okay. He's the protecting father of Japan, like Confucius is the protecting father of China. Okay. And Japanese know this. If these people actually were like Confucius, they'd be wonderful neighbors and we could live with them, but they're not. And the Chinese know this. If they were actually like D.T. Suzuki and the swordsman of Japan, we could trust them and live next to them, but Hirohito's not. Okay, so Hirohito, Chiang Kai-shek, and Mao Zedong are not Confucius and the swordsmen of Japan. They're liars. Okay, and Ken Watanabe can pretend to be like that, but that's just a propaganda movie for violent sex cult behavior, like Mission Impossible and Top Gun. So there's not anything these people can do about it. They are sealed in hell and they are trapped in hell. The only way out of hell is stand up for the Lord's Prayer and trend it worldwide. I'm still with Suzuki on that one. He goes, if they were capable of self-correcting, they would, and your life wouldn't have been necessary, and there wouldn't be a book of Revelation, and all other religions wouldn't point to that and say, that's it. This is the time. And so I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but it's happening now. So don't be concerned about it. And if people want to die clinging to their gun and take it from my cold dead hand because I will be free and fight and kill over money, they're going to do that. And I'm like, oh, this is like Moses with Exodus. Those were his cousins. Those were his relatives. Those were people he grew up with that were choosing to mass murder over their God delusions rather than stand up for the faith of Adam and Eve. Okay, it's painful and it hurts. And Daniel, he loved the people. He knew those people. He grew up with. He lived with, and tried to talk those people into not being murdering barbarians that would take their own children into a lion's den to fight to see who's going to be the next emperor, the next president, the next head of the UN, the next president of the Mormon Church, the next pope. Okay, so these are not just Daniel Day-Lewis and Last Mohicans. They weren't strangers, and they stay as they lay, because we have to keep you, the living, safe. If someone comes through, they'll track us down and hunt down and kill us too. That's horrible. That's what happens when barbarians deny us the Lord's Prayer. Do you understand? Hua, Inju. Right. So I'm very tired, but I ain't going nowhere. That last one took like 2 hours to load and started going backwards. So I can be real critical of the Quorum of the 12, and I can be real critical of the papacy. But when I start to involve their scientific business partners that are just as equally addicted to genocide, hey, you're out of line. You can criticize the corporations that murder in the name of religion, but you can't criticize the corporations that murder in the name of science. You have to be critical of all people that don't obey and follow natural laws and don't appreciate the gift of life to the point where they can sustain it through liberation and education instead of dictation and legislation. So, yeah, I am the Word. I am the way, the truth, and life. I am the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. I am the gracious Good Shepherd. I am the, Exodus movement of the people. Give us another brother. I'm the Spirit of Moses, and we all know that. You said, yeah, he looked a lot like Selassie. Okay, but the Spirit of Moses, everyone knows, ended up through the line of David and through the line of Jesus. And everybody's looking to the line of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Started out with a black guy, then a brown guy, then a lighter guy, then a lighter guy, and so on and so forth. And that's just the way it goes. The line of John the Baptist is John the Baptist and Jesus are two different people, two Holy Spirits that believe the same but are two different people. Haile Selassie is the spirit of John the Baptist. Okay, it could be Martin Yates. I'm not sure. Facebook is a bunch of mean little mindfuckers that think they're geniuses and can outsmart everybody by head fucking people. They're really bad human beings. Yeah, because I'm on here, okay, the two people that I have the most hopes, and apparently Jeffrey was part of Google too. Okay, so I know he has brain damage, and he gets, gosh damn, you'll kick. Yes, I get Chris Hitchings and Richard Dawkins. You knew them. Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass till you stand up for that which is right. I'm a good father, for crying out loud, Jeff. Your dad was an asshole. Okay, I know my dad can be one. Okay, I know my dad can be a real ass. My mom was married to him, and it was horrible. When she crossed him because he said something stupid and believed something stupid and tried to force it down her kids' throats, he was mean as hell to her. Okay. He still is. He still hates her, you know. He can sit there and go partying in Juarez, and then my mom tries to get away with another guy, and she's a slut and a terrible person. It's like, but you go party in Juarez with the, okay. Oh gosh, no, no, no. I did not go to spring break. I did not go to Aggie Fest, and I did not go to. I would not go if I went to a brothel in Juarez. It would be to spend the night with the girl, give her some money that I would use for sex, trying to talk her out of it, and then maybe someday she could find a guy that would love her and appreciate her for the woman she is, and not see money as reality, but loving a faithful man and loving faithful children is reality. And I hope one day you'll see that, because you're a very physically. How could such a beautiful body have such a horrible grubby soul? Dobie Gillis chasing that girl that wants money. It's like, why are you chasing her? She showed you right up she ain't 100 proof, and she's you got a disease. She opens up her ass mouth and asks for money for anything involving any kind of sexual procreation. He's good God, I'm out of here. Boy, she may look like a bride, but she'll never bring her family honor. You know what I'm saying? So stay away from that kind of suicidal, homicidal, inbred biological and psychological conditioning. You know, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but yourself can free your mind. So take control of the mind, so the soul is free to live a faithful life, and pass that on to your wives and children. And if you have to make it your husbands, you grab them by the balls, squeeze, and say, I can make you feel pain. Living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer in the body of Christ is Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. You better recognize right now, mister, or I'll leave you. And I'll go knock on his door and say, I want to marry you and have you raise the kids. Like, I can't marry everybody, Zoe Saldana. But I am helping raise your kids just by using the Samsung. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Okay. It didn't work. You don't squeeze too hard. You want the things to still work. You don't want to do like what Steffi did to me. You know, that's very painful. I have to soak a lot in Epsom salt all the time to stop my prostate from shutting down because of my testicular injury induced by mind fucking by perverts in the Pentagon. So you don't want to be that bad, you know. Well, you have done those crazy fucking Childish Charity TV shows and the Columbiana movie. You need just tone it down a bit, girl. Okay, my Jake. Okay, just be good. Here's a box of raisins. Guys, I love you. All right, peace. We'll see how long it takes these monkeys to load this one.